Welcome to the Born Unbreakable podcast. We are your hosts, Coach Dez and DJFNA.
Yeah, we're back. Oh my goodness.
It's January.
And we're already in the middle of January.
I know. It's crazy.
You know, I love those montages. And I think Jimmy Kimmel does this a lot, where they'll show all the news stations across America and they all say the same thing. Like, do you believe it's January? Do you believe it's January? Do you believe we're in the middle of January?
I know. That's definitely.
I did not want to do that, so I caught myself. Like, do you believe we're in the middle of January, Des? Unbelievable.
This is crazy. Well, I mention it more so because time has passed so quickly since the last time we connected with everyone. We were talking about New Year's is coming.
Speaking of New Year's, we had an awesome party.
Yes. It was amazing.
It was amazing. Right here in our studio / event center / It was great. Tell me about the New Year's Eve. What did you think about it? Did you have fun?
I thought it was really
Explain
awesome.
to everybody what they missed.
So we had an all-white party. So it was fun because there was a theme. There's something about dressing up and everyone kind of coming together and getting excited about it.
I wore all black.
I know. He was.
I wore all black
the
because
nemesis.
I was supposed to bring this
Cool coat.
cool white coat,
Really,
and
really
I
cool.
forgot it because I was so busy making sure the party was like perfect for everybody. But I that's the one thing.
Yeah.
But it looked good though.
Yep. It was good. It was definitely a good time. And it was, everything went very smoothly. The music was awesome. Set up a big screen outside and had the countdown. Aaron did an amazing job with the countdown video and lots of great food. Got the bounce houses going for the kids. So, a lot of rave reviews from that, and a lot of people showed up. So,
Yeah, you always need to have a bouncer for the kids because you need to keep them occupied so you can have fun as a parent.
Yeah,
So
right?
that thing is a lifesaver. It comes in handy. I really love it. Bounce houses. But yeah, New Year's was really good. Every year I usually, I'm DJing at an event.
Yeah.
But this year it was like, the girls are getting older.
Yep.
Family and friends. And it was cool to be able to hang out with the fam. Little Des was there. Your family came through, which is cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jelly.
Yeah.
And a bunch of family and friends.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it was cool because I did this pre-recorded set where I didn't have to like DJ for like the last 30 minutes leading up to the ball drop and everything. So I
Right.
got to be a part of it, and we had fireworks.
Yeah, and then your mom made those luminarios, like the little
That was cool. Yeah.
lanterns that were all by the swimming pool.
And then that week we had a little windstorm.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna get there. I was
Oh
like,
my
that was
gosh,
the only. Everything was amazing. We put all the important equipment away and thought the screen was really stable outside, but
Projector screen.
Yeah, the
We had a big, huge projector screen.
And then the wind proved us wrong.
That's all I got to say about that. And it didn't destroy the whole thing, but what it did was it kind of broke one of
bent
the
the leg.
leg. And now I'm like sitting there going $1,000 just down the drain.
No,
'cause I
because we're gonna
try to fix it.
we're gonna figure out how to fix it.
But
We're solution oriented.
when it comes to my equipment, I'm very pessimistic about it. Like, no, it's broken. It's not the same. The leg is kind of weird. It's going to be
It's okay.
a gimpy projector leg.
There's a good story behind it. But, we hope everyone had a safe and happy new year. And we have hard charged into 2024, given we're already 2 weeks in. My birthday's next weekend.
Okay.
So that's exciting.
We're only 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
And I feel like this year has started off crazy. I mean, yeah, the projector screen, that thing happened. But I feel like a lot of stuff
Yeah.
has happened. Like already, 2024 is like already going crazy. We got Cat Williams just spilling the beans on everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
For those of you that have not seen it, Shannon Sharp, which I like, he has his podcast show, Shay Shay, and he always has different people on, comedians, athletes, everything. Now, but he brings on Cat Williams, and Cat Williams just had a lot to say about a lot of people in the industry and especially in the comedy world. And
as a comedian.
that thing has just, there's so many views. Now people are like just talking about like, well, what's real, you know, what's fake, what's, you know. And I think a lot of it is just maybe, you know, when I first started hearing, when I was listening to it, my thing was, is Cat bitter about it, you know? Because then you heard people responding to it, going like, hey, man, like Kevin Hart was like, you know, you got to get the hate out of your heart. Like, you know what I mean? Just not trying to, you know, be confrontational about it. But then people are going, oh, but nobody wants to respond to it. They're just, you know. So I don't know. You know, it could be his perspective of stuff. You know what I mean? And you know what? We live in a world where, you know, we people want to hear stuff like that. It's what gets views. It's what gets things talking, and you know, and like the Mexican culture, it's like the cheese man. You know,
Yeah.
people want to know about the hot gossip.
Same thing.
You know,
Same thing in
yeah. So we got
Filipino
Cat Williams, you know, spilling the beans. You know, and some political theater, which I love politics.
I was
man.
gonna
Ooh.
say this is like your jam.
Yes, man. The whole oversight committee was doing they were having a hearing about whether or not to hold Hunter Biden in contempt for not following the subpoena.
Right.
And which, you know, Hunter Biden is all for coming to the hearing, but he wants to do it publicly. Does not want to do it closed doors because he doesn't want things to be cherry picked, you know?
Right.
And so, and it's funny because the House, the chairman, had came out and said, hey, if, you know, we want to do a deposition, we want to do a hearing, we can do it publicly, let's go. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And then they were like, oh man, they called it a bluff. Like, and then Hunter Biden was like, yeah, I'll do a hearing in public. And they were like, no, we want to do it behind closed doors because we know, you know, it's all BS. And they, you know, and they don't want to, you know, put them on the stand and then they're asked some questions and then they look bad, you know? So, and here's the thing, again, for those of you who do not know, maybe you're listening to the podcast, you're in a couple episodes, you know, I've said this, I've been a lifelong Republican, but the Republican Party is broken. It is broken. So now, for me, I love seeing this fire that Democrats are fighting back because it needs to happen. Because, you know, when we were talking about Miss Jasmine Crockett, she was coming out and her thing was like, she's like, yes, you know, Democrats tend to, you know, give the thesis, Republicans are just headlines, you know, and that's effective because, again, people just want to hear, you know, like get to the point, you know? So, yeah, they, you know, there's, you know, anytime there's something like this, people will give a you know, very educated, thoughtful explanation about stuff. But it's good to see this stuff. It's like, hey, I showed up. Here we go. You know, I'm here, but you don't want to talk to me. And what I love, man, is when he got up, when Marjorie Taylor Greene started talking, I was like, finally. Because these people are fighting dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because for me being a Republican, I don't even want to call them Republicans. They're MAGA people, you know? And they have no policies. It's all identity politics. Right. And I love Peter Zion. I hope I'm saying his name right. But he is a geopolitical analyst. And I love his videos because he is just down the middle. He just calls it how it is. He's not, you know, right or left or everything, but he's more like a professor. He's going to give you the facts. And I love that he was talking about, you know, now and I believe this is for senators and representatives, you can't give, there's a certain amount you can give. And even if you give to their campaigns, it has to be disclosed. Okay.
So there's transparency.
Now, when people hear this, people are like, well, yeah, let's see where the money's coming from. And let's, you know, but he points out that back then you had big donors, you had a lot of money pumping in, but these people were, even though they had to cater to their lobbyists and people who were funding their campaign, they still had it together somewhat. He's like, of course, there's a little bit of, you know, corruption. He's like, but now it's super corrupt. And why? Because
has swung.
in order because now you kind of level the playing field where you allow these people who are crazy like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz to get funding now, and they're able to get into politics. And now here, that's great, but here's the thing now. Now, instead of getting big donor money, they have to get $5 here, $10 here. How do you get that? You're an influencer, So these clickbait, these sound bites, these little things to go out there and act crazy is all to generate money. You're trying to make money. You're trying to campaign. You're trying to, generate dollars.
Right.
And you're trying to, so it's like every day there's this political theater to make money and there's nothing being done. So, and I'm glad, man, these, I message to Democrats, you need to start fighting fire with fire, and I'm not saying political violence, but you need to call people out. You need to just say it,
Be direct.
in these hearings. And I'm glad they were, because they were saying, oh, okay, we're here holding a hearing about Hunter Biden not following the subpoena because he doesn't want to do it closed doors, but he wants to do it publicly. But then they go, okay, hey, but what about, Jim Jordan? You know what I mean? What about, and they were going down the line saying like all these other Republicans, when they were when we sent them subpoenas, they didn't follow it.
Yeah.
So come on, man, like you hypocrite, like just like
it's a level playing field.
Yeah. And you know what? And here's my thing. Like, I love talking. We need to talk about this. It needs to be talked about, because, I mean, at the end of the day, man, these are decisions that are going to affect people. It's like, and it's sad. To me, I'm always like, man, these people have no idea that they're voting against themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're putting these people in place, and now there's nothing that's done. And just like when Biden got elected, and he said, we're going to do this infrastructure thing. And he even called it out. He said, and when I go down to your state and you have the money to fix your roads and bridges and create internet, those Republicans are going to be there going, I got the money for you guys. You know what I mean? And I'm glad he said that. And that's true. So, yeah, man, it's that was some fireworks there.
Yeah. And it's just the beginning.
Playoffs start January, it's January, so the NFL playoffs have started. Today was such a bad day, man.
Oh, man.
Yes, I'm a Cowboy fan, lifelong Cowboy fan. And this loss just felt different.
Well, what made it different for you?
Here's what made it different. Because all year long, first of all, we haven't, been in the Super Bowl in like 28, 30 years.
28.
28, I think it was, 28 years. And every year, like, we've had some good years where we win a lot of games. And then it's like, oh, we come up short. Like, when Tony Romo, when they lost to Green Bay because Des Bryant didn't fully catch and we lost. You know what I mean? And then with Seattle, it's like, oh, we missed that field goal. And, you know what I mean? It's like we almost got there. We got spanked at home. We were undefeated at home, and they just got everybody.
And you averaged like 37
Shannon
points
Sharp, Stephen
per
A.
game
Smith.
at home.
I saw everything on ESPN, all the NFL,
all
sports
the commentators.
analysis. We're all saying Cowboys are going to handle this.
Cowboys.
About everybody's, and then saying like, Cowboys have a good road to go to the Super Bowl, at least make it to the NFC Championship and see what they can do. And then they just lay the biggest effing egg. I mean, and even I stick around. I was trying to hear Jerry Jones's interview, post-game interview, because, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, were waiting on that, because he would just like, he said, I can't remember when a loss this bad.
Yeah. But he said also that he wasn't at a place about talking about any decisions.
Well, because he doesn't want to sit there and say, I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones was sitting there talking to these people going, I wish I could say, what the fuck just happened? I mean, he was so disappointed. Usually he's there and saying stuff, but I think he was just like, man, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah, he looked like, ugh. And
it's crazy because even in the middle of the game, I even told you, I was like, I think Cowboys, at this point, I hope they lose really bad so that he needs to clean house. And it's funny because Skip Bayless, a host of the Undisputed on FS1, he said the same thing. He was like, at this point, I'm going to root for the Packers. Hopefully it's 55-10 so Jerry Jones can clean house. And you know, it is going to be interesting what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, we had some political theater. The Epstein list came out.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, man.
That's crazy.
An anticipated list.
Of all the affiliates of Jeffrey Epstein.
What do you know about that list, Des?
That there's a long list.
You know, but okay, so we know names were listed.
Yeah.
But to you, what does that list mean to you?
I mean, you know, when it's because I was reading some of it with like Bill Clinton and different, you know, names on there. It's a lot of affiliates and people associated with this financier who did bad things.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was a huge socialite, and when his documentary came out, that was huge, you know, for people to see the kinds of power and the affiliates of somebody at that level. And so it just makes you question, right, people's motives and how much knowledge they have of the kinds of things that are going on.
Okay, but the list, did it matter to you who was on the list?
I mean, I expected it to be.
Were you interested to hear who was on the list?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't studied it well, but.
Well, and this is what I'm getting at. Like, okay, so this list comes out, and again, I like when we do this podcast, we give people like the cliff notes. We don't distort the truth, or we don't have, you know, we're not trying to do that. I always want to give the most accurate information, but quickly, fast. So, this list is the result of a lawsuit. One of the victims was suing, and people wanted this list to come out. They wanted the court documents to be unsealed so that there's more transparency. Why people wanted to see who was on the list? Because they want to know, okay, well, you know, this person obviously was a pedophile. He was a predator, and he didn't do it alone. You know what I mean? Like, so, and it's kind of like, you know, I guess like when the Me Too came out, everybody was just coming out saying like, you know, well, this happened to me, you know what I mean? And everybody was getting called out, you know?
Right.
But it's interesting because this list comes out, and it's important to know, and everybody's been saying this, like, this list doesn't say that anybody committed any crimes, but it's just a list of people who are named that he was associated with, because he had money. Right. So obviously he had friends, he had, you know, but it does look bad. It does look bad. But here's the funny thing about this, is that these people, like, for example, like Aaron Rodgers, that was trying to, like, you know, throw shade at Jimmy Kimmel and say he might be on the list and everything. And we are, if a lot of you guys read just like pop culture news and stuff, know that was a big deal. You know, Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Hey man, like, that's messed up. You're gonna call you're gonna say some stuff like that." Yeah. You know, but this list was another kind of like, you know, conservatives, liberals, MAGA people, anti-Trump people, like, we're all like ready to like be able to go like, see, yeah, you're dude, you know. But here's the thing, like, everybody was on this fucking list, man.
All the people.
You had Bill Clinton, you had Donald Trump, you had, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, all these people. But here's the thing, Biden's not on the list. Okay. You had, you know, I forgot, was it one of the Prince Charles?
Oh yeah, there was a prince.
There was a prince. I know from. Okay. I hope I got that right. Hopefully you can fact check me, Des, because I want to make sure I get it right, because I do not want to put anybody's name out there that should not be out there. But there was somebody, one of the royals was on that list too. So you had a lot of these people who were on this list, and of course people are going to go like, you know, you're on the list.
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew. Okay, yeah. So Prince Andrew's on this list. So it did look bad. Now, there was a victim that was saying that she was with Prince Andrew. So, you know, no other victims have come out and said, I was with Donald Trump or I was with Bill Clinton. So again, we have to say that, you know, this list is not a show that people did anything criminal. So, but again, court of popular opinion.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or, did I say that right?
Public opinion.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Court of public opinion. Mm-hmm. People are going to be like, oh man, these people on the list. But it's funny because the list came out and this list came out and everybody's sigh was like, oh shit, I don't think we can use this list because everybody's on this damn
It's just-
list, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's interesting.
I'm glad I'm not on that list though. It's like, everybody's just like, it's like, oh man, like, nobody wants to be on a list, you know what I mean?
Right?
But
Nobody
here in
wants to
Vegas,
be on-
everybody wants to be on the guest list, but man,
Don't be on the blacklist.
there was, if there was ever a time people did not want to be on a list,
Yeah.
it was this one. So yeah, 2024 is like off to a
lot
crazy
going
start.
on, a lot going on.
Are you one of these people who, when something happens, you're like, oh, is this an omen?
No.
Is this going to dictate the rest of the year?
No. I mean, the only time I really felt like it seemed a little bit that way was COVID.
Yeah.
that was like a really devastating.
And what happened right when before COVID was a thing and announced? What happened?
Right before COVID
Yes.
in 2020.
Kobe Bryant died,
Yeah.
And that was so eerie for people because there was this newspaper that had the headlines of Kobe, died in the helicopter crash. And down on the corner was COVID-19 spreading in China. You know what I mean? It was kind of like it was a COVID headline, and that ended up being a bigger story.
Yeah, it was big. But
So yeah, I'm gonna admit, I was kind of like, ooh, like is this a bad start? You know
No,
what I mean?
like,
I feel
well-
like a lot of not so good stuff was kind of happening.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, 2020. And I was positive because it was like, oh, 2020 vision. I went to Oprah, like she had a tour, and I went right before, it was in February. And then COVID happened in March. And I was like, man, at least I got to see Oprah.
It's funny because you're like, oh my god, I'm motivated, and then life just
You're
said,
like,
sit down.
Yeah.
Sit your ass down.
But there was a lot of resiliency. I think people built a lot of resiliency. But fast forward 4 years, it's
Does
a lot.
even odd numbers, is that a thing for you? Do you? I kind of do that the whole thing. I'm like, oh, it's an even number, and I kind of look back and like, what happened on the odd numbers? This is an even number year. Maybe this is a good year. I can make a move. You know what I mean? I that's something like I'm not big on horoscopes and all that, and I'm like, I think it's so funny when people are like, oh, you're like a Gemini, you're a Pisces, you're this. I'm like, look, everybody's an asshole, everybody's nice, everybody's capable of something, everybody's introverted, extroverted some way. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a lot of
but when it comes to like the new year starting and all that, I get kind of like, okay, it has to start off right.
Well, I think for me, because my birthday's in January, that's almost like it's like, okay, it's another year, but it's like another year for me.
But let's be
of, like,
real though,
growth.
okay? And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of women, especially a lot of people who love you. But as a woman, and I guess, I know this would be a chauvinistic thing to say, but after you turn 21 as a woman, you're like, oh, okay, everything's not so great. and then everything is like, oh, it's my birthday. Like, it's the beginning of the year, and now I'm reminded that I'm older. Like, do you feel that?
No, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot. It's
and again, I
funny.
apologize to women because I know that's fucked up to say, but I'm just being real.
No,
You know what I mean?
I do think women have this conversation a lot, and I actually was having that, with some friends, because it was about appearance and how things change for a woman as time goes on, and then. There were jokes being made because it's like, oh, because I'm Asian, so it's like you look younger, and so people say that to me a lot. But I'm like, so I take it as a compliment. It's but at the same time, I think getting older it's a part of meaning that your growth, your maturity, your capabilities, your influence, like it just gets better. And so when people are such a Debbie Downer about getting older, it's like, wow, like what is that really how you think? You're just thinking, well, as you're closer to death, you're closer to like these other things. And
for me, since my birthday's in June, it's kind of like a two thing. It's like it's a new year, but then also when my birthday comes around, it's like, okay, I'm another year older. It's kind of like another like, okay, this is another like, time to kind of reset.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's why I'm so serious about goals, because January just such as like a new year, and I'm like getting older, so it's like even more important to me to have my shit together. You know, like the first week out of the year, I was like, I had my goals written. I had, you know, I had everything. I did budgeting, financing, like all this.
What
stuff,
is
so.
for this year is the most important thing for you to work on this year? What are you most focused about?
Oh man. You know, I think in my goals, I'm most focused on my, it sounds weird to say this because I feel like I had reached a peak already, but my professional growth, really, you know, there's more of an envelope for me to push. And I really want to do that. You know, I think there's, in healthcare in particular, there's more to do. And I feel like I'm at that point of confidence where I'm capable of doing a lot, like getting a lot of phone calls to do.
So the
things
theme of
that-
this year is take on more.
Well, it's it's interesting you say that because I struggle with this a lot of like, but then do you take on too much? So the word that I chose for 2024 is alignment, because I want the commitment to myself that if I'm going to choose something to do or pursue or commit to, it has to be aligned with the outcomes that I want. And if it's not, then I can't feel guilty, or I won't feel guilty for saying no.
It's interesting because alignment has been a word that we've been using a lot recently. I know this week was a pretty cool week for us
Yeah.
in our personal lives.
Yeah.
You know? And but alignment is a good word because it's the beginning of the year. And you're trying to figure out, where should I spend my energy? Where should I spend my time?
Yeah.
You know, and obviously one of the first things to do is to go, okay, how do I align myself with what's important? You know, how do I align myself with my partner to make sure we can conquer stuff when it comes to relationships or anything else? Or am I aligned with the job I'm in now, the people who I work with? You know, alignment is one of those things that maybe it's a good question to ask people, is because you can put anything at the end of that sentence. Are you aligned in your relationship? Are you aligned at work? Are you aligned with, you know, yourself?
Yeah.
And I guess that's weird to say yourself, but maybe the goals that you have, do they align with what's going on in your life right now? It's realistic.
Yeah.
So when you, I'm pretty sure you get this a lot being a coach. You know, it's, how do I know if I'm aligned? Or what are some of the basic things that people can do to see if they're aligned with anything?
Yeah, well, one of the things for me to figure that out was, first you have to figure out what are your goals, right? So, and everyone has different goals. So there could be a fitness one or a health one. There could be a financial one. And so so that's one thing that you can do. The other thing is that I even wrote down values that I have, like fun, impact, growth, and sustainability are 4 of the things that mean something to me. So if something comes, let's say, our way, and I don't think it's going to grow our business, or I don't think it's sustainable, like it's a good idea, but it's
align
just,
with our model.
it doesn't align. So it's like, I think when you can have those values, it makes you decide more quickly if something is worth your while or not.
You know, and because we in our personal lives, we use this word a lot. But I think for me, it's a good, safe word to use when you're trying to have a difficult conversation with somebody, even at work too. I think it's better to say, I don't think that me and my coworker don't align on some things. It almost sounds better to say that, to be like, I can't stand this motherfucker and we disagree on everything. It's so aggressive, you know?
Like, oh my gosh.
And that's one of the things that I've been learning from you, is that you can do a different approach, you know, because I'm a very direct person. It's like, I'm going to just like, let's get into it. I just, you know, like, I can't stand you do this. Like, are you going to fucking change it? You know what I mean? And then it gets confrontational,
Right.
you know? And especially because, I get very passionate about the political stuff. I'm learning too that if I'm going to have a conversation, which is always important to have a conversation with people that you don't agree with, because you'll learn a lot about each other. You know what I
A
mean?
lot.
And
So much.
the word alignment, I think, is a really good, safe word to use in anything. It's like, hey, I know our political views don't align, but do we have similarities in these areas?
Right.
So, alignment.
Yeah.
Alignment.
Yeah. So
Um,
I
when was the last time you felt like you were just totally not aligned with something?
Well, I think I got misaligned when I was in a previous role, still at my firm, and I was chief of staff. And the business, grew to a certain point, and I was missing the work that I did with clients. And I realized that I have certifications to do all these things like change management.
Because you were doing like kind of sales.
Yeah. Well, I was doing a lot more internal operations, and it started getting to a place where I was disconnected from it. Like to the point where you could see it visibly the way that I showed up, and I just
Did you
didn't
cry?
have to. I didn't cry. I just felt like disengaged,
Yeah.
And so I had to get realigned, and so I had to figure out like, well, what are my talents? Like I had to go tap back into, the things that I actually enjoyed doing, and that's why I went back to focusing on executive coaching, and change management and all of the things that I feel like I'm really good at, and that's what I do today. So I got aligned with what I think provides the most value to the most people.
Yeah, and again, I think there's when you're trying to accomplish something, it's really good to hear, because again, I have in the past, I think it's kind of silly when you have to sit down and like one of the things that I would always make fun of is when like I heard this when Ariane was working at Paul Mitchell, right? And the whole thing was, and you said this too, and I think it's like it is like a corporate thing where they go, when you're gonna criticize somebody, you like tell them
like
something
a compliment
nice.
sandwich.
Yeah, you tell them something, give them a compliment, give their criticism, and then another compliment.
Yeah.
And when I would hear that, I'm like, are you serious? Because when I was in football,
It's
they didn't go,
convoluted.
hey, Aaron, you did a really good tackle last week. You need to, go lower, because then you can do better. Like, it was like, hey. Oh, whoop. Can you hear me? Oh, whoops.
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I pushed the button. Sorry,
Did you
guys.
mute yourself?
Yeah. When you're in sports, you know what I mean? You're like, that was horrible. Get up and do the damn play again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So,
More direct.
yeah. So when I would hear that stuff, I'm like, are you serious? Like, and I get it. And this is where, when people say like, everybody's so damn soft and you got to give a compliment before you give somebody a criticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, like this is again why it's important to talk to people you don't agree with, or maybe not, or you do different things, because then because I may be in a situation in the future where I might be dealing with somebody who's very sensitive. Mm-hmm. Now I have the knowledge to go, hey, I got this in my back pocket. I'm about to talk to somebody who's very sensitive. I'm not going like, dang, well, I'm just gonna have to hit them with the realness and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Now I can go, okay, now I have that in my back pocket to say,
Right. Well, and
you're
so
a nice person,
yeah.
but you really suck at communication. But you have a nice smile.
Yeah, I know, no. But I think that the thing too is just like understanding different styles.
Yeah.
That's why when I do read people's personality tests all the time, because I always tell you, I do that with a lot of executives. You start to recognize that there's many things that people are on opposite ends of the spectrum than you. Mm-hmm. And communication is one of them. You know, there's different styles of how people do that. And if you put a super direct person with someone who is a lot softer in their approach, and it's like you're always going to approach a conversation differently.
And I think a lot of people, and this is good because I think when you tell people that about a word alignment, that's kind of like a safe word. You know what I mean? It's a word that's not going to make things aggressive or it's not going to be too soft. And I think today a lot of people can use that. I'm pretty sure in a lot of different things. If you're having a disagreement with your spouse, you know what I mean? You can say, hey, you know what? I don't think we align on how we're parenting. You know, because you're doing one thing one way. You know what I mean? And again, that does sound a lot better to say, you know, coming to somebody and say, hey, you know, we're not aligning on how we're disciplining our kid right now with the cell phone thing.
Right.
How do we get aligned? Or how do we get close to that?
Right.
It almost seems like it's a good way to have a it could have gone like left, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Where it's like, you know, instead of going something like, you know, because you were raised with everybody letting you do whatever the hell you guys wanted to do, there was no discipline in your damn house, and that's why you're letting my son, you know, on the damn phone till 9 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's how things get bad. You know what I mean?
Whoa, yeah.
So you know and that's good. Obviously, in relationships, that's a big thing because you're trying to keep the peace, you know. But then at work, I know a lot of people struggle with this, and you talk about this a lot. If I have a problem at work, how do I address it?
Yeah.
Like, how do I stand up for myself, but not get myself in a position where people don't want to work with me? You know, I think it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So I think even in the corporate world or even in the professional world, it's a good way to say, hey, I don't think we're aligning on this project. Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or there's people in my team that I'm not aligning with. How can we make this better?
Well, and usually,
So-
I mean, usually, like, and this is true for personal or work. You come back to values is one piece, but the other thing is what outcome do you want to achieve, right? Hopefully, the outcome we both want to achieve if we're working on something is the same, right? So sometimes it's how we get there that people are not aligning on. Like we agree on the goal, we agree what we're trying to accomplish, but we're caught up and maybe misaligned on how.
Yeah.
Or something, you know, so then you can work towards it. But I think that establishing this kind of stuff early in the year gives you a good foundation and the right momentum as you kind of get
So
into
a
it.
lot of you that, you know, I know when it's you know, people always, you know, ask the question, what's your New Year's resolution? What are you going to work on this year? You know, and people, well, most people will know what they want to work on. Most people know, like, yes, this year I want to make more money. Yeah, this year I want to, you know, spend more time with my kids or my family. But that's a good start. Where am I? How am I aligned with certain things, and what am I not aligned with? You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm making sense, but I know you explained it way better. But and again, it's a good way to, because I know, like, for example, people who maybe, let's just say somebody's overweight. They're like, you know, my family or friends may all work out. They're, you know, gym people, but I don't align with them, you know? Something like that. It's like, how do I get myself aligned with these people? You know,
Yeah.
instead of like, how do I force myself to do something I don't want to do? You know?
Well, but so then the other question is, how important is it to you?
Yeah.
Right. So, and weight loss is a great one because there's people who talk about that all the time. I want to lose weight, but their actions don't match the outcome that they want to achieve. Right. So it's misaligned if you're eating things that are
And-
not going to help you to achieve that outcome.
And maybe using the word
Right.
alignment in that situation is not like the individual, but maybe if you're trying to help somebody, you know,
Yeah.
that's also good, because I know people are really like, ooh, like how do I push you, you know? But again, there's certain words that I'm learning that it's really good that you can use across the board to avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
You know?
Or just be able to manage confrontation better. But,
Yeah.
you know, so we're excited. We're excited about the year. Excited about, hopefully, so my playoff game is on my birthday.
Yep.
So I hope that goes well. So
As a Cowboy fan, I think, because here's the thing, I think when your team loses, everybody has to go, okay, well, I'm still a sports fan. Who am I going to root for?
yeah,
You know? I like the Lions because it's been over 30 years that they haven't won a playoff. And I think I heard something where it's like 1992
it was
or one.
92 that, yeah.
The last time they
the
won a
last time they won a
playoff.
playoff.
And so it'd be nice. And it was cool because on the other side, you had the Cleveland Browns, who's always had a bad record. It kind of sucked that they kind of lost in the first round, but it would have been nice to be like, oh, the Browns and the Lions, like two teams that have been bad for a long time,
Yeah.
make it. But at least there's one more. Like, Lions have a good shot. I mean, man, even though we got blown out by the Packers, that team right there. They're one of the youngest ones,
Yeah.
but they have heart, you know. And I think once the playoffs happen, and again, you go back to Joe Montana, Tom Brady. These people had heart when when people won in the playoffs and went to the Super Bowl and won because they had heart, because they knew this is not going to be tough, but we're going to go in there, even if people think we're the underdog and we have no chance, we're still going to go in there.
Yeah.
You know.
I love those stories.
So yeah, man. So it's I'm hoping the 49ers do not make it to the Super Bowl.
I know you don't want that.
And the Eagles either, man. So to
I
me,
want that.
I'd be happy. I have to root for the Lions. Not really a Packer fan. I guess it'd be cool. It'd be a cool story because they're all the young guys. Like, the young guys came in and held it down. That'd be a cool story.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, I'd be cool with it, but I don't think they're gonna go far because it's like Baker Mayfield. He was at Cleveland. Obviously, he didn't really have a good team around him.
The Ravens are
It
fired
didn't work
though
out.
right now too.
Yeah, and I think if now let's just say the Eagles or the 49ers do make it to the Super Bowl, I'm praying that the Ravens can beat up on them because they already beat up on 49ers. So
They already did.
yeah, so
And
this shows it can be done.
But there's also redemption for the 49ers
yeah.
because of a previous Super Bowl. So I'm a diehard Niners fan. I don't care what day of the week it is. I will take all the shit talking and I will always defend my team. So I want them to win all the time.
But it's good, man. It's this even though for me it sucks. this Super Bowl or this playoff has actually been really cool and exciting to see who's gotten in.
Oh, yeah.
There's
No,
there's a lot of people that you want to see make it and maybe win it.
Yeah.
And it seems a little bit more leveled. Like, it seems like right now it's open. Anybody, I know the 49ers are the heavy favorite in the NFC, and the Ravens are. But
the
again,
AFC.
Josh Allen still has something to say about it. You know, the Texans are the young team in the AFC
Yeah.
that are like, don't count us out. You know what I mean? Because we were able to take down Joe Flacco, who was doing pretty good. So momentum is a big deal. For those of you who are big NFL fans, I mean,
I'm excited for the Pro
Yeah.
Bowl too. There's all. Did you see the Pro Bowl list? There's
that
a lot
which
of
is
good
in
players.
Orlando.
Yeah.
But they don't. Do they do the Pro Bowl still, or is it more like the Pro Bowl games? Because I know it's not really like a big deal, but I know they do like the whole games where it's like they all kind of do these like it's like like the kicking and like the quarterback game, and they do little mini games to get people interested instead of just having a
Just one
game that people just hike and then the linemen just stand up and patty cake. It's like,
I don't know. It's just cool. It's just cool to see
Yeah.
like players. And then they also have the awards that are on February 8th. So you'll see who gets like Man of the Year and see who gets like the different players that get recognized
Yeah.
for their contributions. So I love football.
Now, speaking of taking on, I know earlier you were like, we were talking about you taking on too much, right? And I know we're always busy, but we're taking on some more, right? I'll let you do this one. We have a little special announcement.
Yeah, we have a social announcement. So last time we were here, you heard us talk about like our feedback for the Whatever podcast, and a heavy component of it was like relationships. And so this is an area that Aaron and I are super passionate about. And so we are launching another podcast.
Another one. Yes, another one. More work. More work. And this one is kind of like, it's not just about relationships. It's about alternative relationships too. Alternative thinking.
That's right.
We want to
And
cater.
so-
We want to cater to everybody.
That's right.
Relationships,
Dating,
sex,
sex,
monogamous relationships,
non-monogamous relationships.
My favorite.
our favorite, me and Aaron's favorite.
Oh my gosh, sorry. The camera was only on me for that, but
Oh man, should I do that again? Our favorite.
right. But also the main goal for me in this other podcast we want to do, because this one's going to be strictly about relationships.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think just like financial literacy is not taught in schools, obviously relationships is not taught in schools, and that's understandable because
It's a broad category.
it's very broad. So I think for me it's just about perspective. That's always been the thing for me when I'm coaching people who are male or female, who are either dating or married, or who want a monogamous good relationship or non-monogamous open relationship. My thing has always been perspective. Allowing women to understand how men think and allowing men to understand how women think.
And my objective, and I agree with you,
Yes.
is, my mantra is for people to be unapologetically you, be unapologetically who you are. And I think that is true in sex, in relationships, and dating. And a lot of confusion happens because I think people present what they think people want.
Yes.
And so therefore, they get further along into this whole thing with another person and realize that they have withheld some key pieces of information that
And I know some of you are thinking like, why don't you guys just talk about it on the Unbreakable podcast? Well, because we want to make sure that we are, I think for this one, we're trying to give people, real-time information of what's going on, on in news, politics, self-help, growth, education. It's like we're going to cover a lot of things. We're trying to help people decipher information, be entertaining, but at the same time giving people just good tools and advice
yeah.
on a lot of different levels.
Yep.
But when it comes to relationships, it's a lot to talk
Yeah,
about.
there's a lot to unpack.
And this is why we want to kind of like separate it, because we want that to because here's the thing. I feel like if people want to hear about that, they'll go to that. You know what I mean? And I know for me, when I'm watching or listening to ESPN, it's about sports, or even
very
even the
specific.
news, even certain news, you'll hear about different things that are going on all over. You kind of want to get a general thing of everything. I know, but if it's something that you want to talk about relationships, you'll go directly to it. So that's why we're kind of separating this.
Yeah.
So which is gonna be good. What is it gonna be called?
The Candy and Cane podcast.
Yeah. We want to make it short and sweet. The Candy and Cane podcast show. So we'll give you guys more information on when that's launching. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. And here we're just trying to give you more. We're just trying to give you more.
I know. It's so much fun. So good.
Is there something that you are looking forward to this year?
That I'm looking forward to this year. Well, I'm looking forward to releasing my book.
Yes, that's right. Dez wrote a book.
Born Unbreakable, the book.
Yes. Is there pictures in it?
There's a picture of me on it. Just to make sure you don't forget what I look like. No, it's
It'd be so cool if you were like, I'm releasing a book. There's gonna be in the book, it's gonna come with like 50 stickers.
I know.
There's a word puzzle.
There's actually a slap-on bracelet. It's like an homage to like my childhood. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. There's a few pages of me so you can color.
There's actually a coloring book.
There's a unicorn and a koala bear. You know? So
those are the.
It'd be fun if you like added a bunch of stuff to your book. People are like, oh yeah, this thing came with like stickers and like.
So it's Born Unbreakable.
But in all seriousness, she is writing a serious book, man.
5 steps to overcoming your self-limiting beliefs, and when it's.
Did you ghostwrite?
No, I wrote it myself.
Wrote it yourself?
Entirely. Yes. And I did, worked with some great professionals to make sure I was doing it the right way. And it's really cool. I'm excited. It's my first book. It highlights different amazing people that have come on the show from the inception of when the show first started. And that's really how I was able to. It's really a respect to the guests and all the people that I've encountered in life that have helped me to realize a lot about what it takes to overcome things that you don't think you're capable of. And so when it's available for pre-order, I'll share that, with everyone. And then we will probably do a list of anybody who's interested.
Will there be an audiobook?
There will. So I have to, work on the timing of that. It'll probably be the book first, and then the audiobook will follow.
If you do an audiobook, can you get somebody like Pauly Shore to do it?
Someone like super entertaining.
Or with like a little voice, like, since you're little. Like if you were going to have, serious question. Okay. If you were going to have somebody read your audiobook and it could be anybody in the world, famous or not, who would it be?
Oprah.
Oh.
She's my favorite.
It's funny how you already knew that because you already thought about that. Like, Oprah can read my book. It'd be amazing.
Gosh. Well, and because she's like Oprah's book club, it'd be like that would be the ultimate thing if Oprah read your book, and then it's a part of her book club. So
I think for me, I'm looking forward to the 2024 presidential election because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be gearing up. This election, it's like it's gonna be intense because people are I guess expecting a civil war. So people are gonna be stocking up arms. It's gonna be like the Y2K. People are gonna be out here like stocking up water, cans of beans, fruit roll-ups,
one of my girlfriends,
all this stuff. They're gonna be like, man, it's gonna go into a civil war. Like the elections, is it gonna be stolen or not? It's gonna be insane, man. This is gonna be, whew. Good year. It's gonna get ugly, but I hope democracy prevails, and the good thing about this and here's the thing, when you go on to a lot of these interviews with people, a lot of people say the country is just horrible and it's gonna get worse and the world is falling apart. Here in this country, we have 3 branches of government. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who are involved. I believe that if for some reason a certain person gets elected, as careless and dangerous as they are, there's going to be some checks and balances. Are there going to be some stuff that happens that, may turn some people off or might cause people to maybe, protest more or whatever? Possibly. But I really don't think there's going to be a civil war. You know what I mean?
I've learned to, I think at times, and I know I've had previous podcast episodes where
divided as this country is, there's still a lot of stuff that brings together. Like, for example, right now, football.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Because, people who probably like hate each other politically are at a football game right now.
They can get aligned.
Hugging. They can be aligned. Yes. Hugging, going like, yeah, we finally made a playoff. We finally won a playoff game, So that's a good thing about this country. We have a lot of things that everybody can agree on. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm optimistic. And ready, but it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yes, another Born Unbreakable podcast show.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Dez is really busy. I've been really busy, but I love taking the time to do this because, it's good to just let it all out.
Yeah.
And help with people who maybe are getting some news or social media, things that are going on, and just to kind of hear how other people are preparing or taking the information. Again, for me, I think it's my biggest thing is to try to give people the right information because there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're effective. I like to think so.
Or we are committed.
Yes.
And hopefully that means you see.
So yes, word of the
Yeah.
day, alignment. Hopefully that helps you guys out on planning your year this year, and to maybe have a better conversation with your spouse or coworker if you got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I don't align with this motherfucker. Sounds better than I don't like this motherfucker.
Use
So-
some different strategies to be, you know.
Hope we helped some people out today. It was great. Remember, you guys can follow Dez at Coach Dez _ Coach Dez _.
Yep.
She's rocking in the whole kickboxing thing, man.
Yeah.
Yesterday she tried to show me her muscles, and I laughed.
I know. It's okay.
Okay,
I'm used to it.
Dez,
I'm
you
used
guys.
to it.
Okay, show them the muscles right now.
My
Go.
muscles?
Yeah, show like one of your arms right now.
Okay.
Remember,
Don't
this,
worry.
this is a family show.
No,
so
don't
make
worry.
sure-
I have a shirt on it.
Okay. I know the other day you were like, hey, check out my muscles. And I was like,
He's kind of a hater.
I don't know if I can say muscles.
You know, but I will say, everyone in class is very complimentary because,
Yes.
well, they've seen my journey. I
Yeah.
think very up close and personal. So,
Let's see the guns. Let's see the guns.
yeah. Yeah, no.
We'll let the people decide if Coach Dez has some guns. Okay, but
I mean, like, there's some cuts going on. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying.
And that's without baby oil.
Yeah, I mean, this is just raw.
That's without
okay?
olive oil.
I didn't like bulk up before this, and for a tiny person,
Yep, she's mini but mighty.
just saying, working on them cuts.
I like it. I like it. And again, if you guys want to follow my crazy ass life, go to at DJFNA F and Aaron on Instagram.
Beware.
Yes.
Parental advisory.
It hasn't been that bad.
I'm kidding.
It hasn't been that.
I'm just kidding.
My Instagram was really crazy during COVID. There was
We've
a lot
evolved.
of ass and
We've evolved.
parties. And,
We've evolved.
yeah,
That's
which is good,
that's
but
occasional.
yeah, but I'm diversifying my.
You're diversifying your portfolio.
Yes, so there's not as much ass on my Instagram.
There's the occasional.
Girl shaking it up, you know what I mean, while I'm DJing.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of different stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Really good stuff.
But yeah, we'll give you guys more information on the Candy Cane podcast. That's going to be exciting. And if you guys have any questions, things you want us to elaborate on, please let us know. Hit us up on the DMs. You can slide into Dez's DMs or hit us up at bornunbreakable.com. I know we have an email list or somewhere comment section.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can go. You can go there. You could go to Instagram, Born Unbreakable. You can
Anybody
drop-
that you want to shout out or kind of recognize for this podcast?
recognize for this?
Who's not
podcast?
famous? Like a friend of yours that you want to recognize.
I would like to recognize my friend Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Yeah, so Lindsay and I go way back, and she's actually visiting in town this month, so I thought about her, and we just have a really amazing bond, and I want to shout her out because she's someone who has been so supportive of me as a friend in every facet of my life, from relationships to transitions to career, business. She is a huge advocate, and that's the kind of friends that you want. People that are going to be there through the hard times just as much as they're there through the good times. So I'm excited that she's, for work, going to be coming into town this month.
Nice. And what are you guys going to be doing?
Well, I might have some travels, so we have to get aligned on our schedule to figure out. But I'm hoping we could take her somewhere cool to eat, and we could show her our place, and just catch up on a lot of good stuff that we
Shout out to Lindsay,
haven't seen each other in a while.
the Linzer. Sweet. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Remember, you can go to bornunbreakable.com. You can get all the information to listen or watch this podcast or share it, please. Yes.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do.
Totally free for now.
Right?
But yeah, if you want to gift somebody some good information, man, just share it.
And just entertainment.
Yes.
Just, maybe you just need a smile in your day and you just want to listen to us talk crazy.
Yeah.
So
I love the criticism that I'm getting from everybody. That I have a lot of work to do. Keep it coming. I like it. It's about growth. It's about
doing
growth.
Amazing.
All right. We're out. Thank you guys for listening. Unbreakable
Thanks
Podcast Show,
for
DJFNA,
tuning in.
Coach Little Dez. We're out.